Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, let's begin our next topic in our systematic review course, which is citation fishing and using search filters. So, what is citation fishing? So, it's kind of a systematic review technique that involves examining the reference list of relevant articles to discover additional valuable sources not found in traditional database searches. And why should we do it? Simply to discover non indexed older sources, finding post search published sources, and to ensure that our review is comprehensive in nature. And now I know that it might sound time consuming, but in important topic, it is definitely worth your we first identify key articles related to the research question. So, the first step involves finding foundational or key articles that are closely related to your research question. These are the articles that will provide the basis for further investigation. The next step would be to examine the reference list of these articles. These reference list contains sources that the original authors used, which may also be relevant to your research question. The third step, I think, which is the most important step, is to assess the relevance of the citations in this list. Now, what it means is that once the reference lists are reviewed, you must assess whether the cited sources are actually relevant to your research. This step involves determining if the resources can contribute to answering your research question or provide useful information. And fourth, add relevant citations to source list for further review. After determining which citations are relevant, these can be added to a comprehensive source list for further detailed review. These help in organizing the resources that will be cited in your own research or literature review. Now, why do we do this? Because this process encourages thorough and systematic review of existing literature and prevents citation uh, like phishing by ensuring that only the relevant sources are included. Now, I mean, this is one of the loopholes with the citation phishing. Like, if you go deep into a particular paper, you see a paper, you go to the reference, and you are seeing the reference list, which are supporting the very same thing that your particular original paper that you are reviewing is saying. So that creates a bias. Everyone in that reference list is saying the same thing which the original paper is saying, so that might create bias. So this is one of the downsides of citation phishing, and we can remove that uh, downside by our third step, which is to assess the relevance of these citations when we are reviewing the reference list. Then what are the tools that you can use? So I think you already know that there is a Google Scholar, then PubMed, and there is an extension to use PubMed, which is Easy PubMed, Scopus, and Web of Science. So I have already taken you through Web of Science and Scopus in our previous lecture, which was literature search using Cochrane, Scopus, and WS. So I hope you are already familiar with the process. Then this is one of the examples from Google Scholar. See that there is a filter here, uh, which says include citations. So when you select this particular filter, the paper that you are reviewing will show how many times it is cited by. Then similarly, the Google Scholar also allows you to add another filter of searching within the citing articles. So that ensures that even the those citing articles are reviewed. Then what is Easy PubMed? Easy PubMed is an extension to make new PubMed easy to use. It is available on Google Chrome Store, uh, in the extensions, and you can add to Chrome to use them. And when you do, then it will show you the how many times any study is cited. A very useful tool. This functionality already exists in Scopus and Web of Science, which I showed you in the previous lecture. Last column, it shows the number of citations of the papers. Now, we need a strong search filter to ensure that only the most relevant articles are included in our systematic review. So, what are search filters? They are predefined search strategies used in systematic reviews to narrow down the literature search results to the most relevant studies. I think it is pretty self explanatory in that regard. Now, what we are interested in, what will be the steps of this search strategy? So the first step would be to obviously define your research question. Then it would be to break down your research question into key concepts of terms. That is easily done using the PICO format, which we have already discussed about. Then we select the relevant databases. Then we identify the databases that are relevant to your topic. Then we consider controlled vocabulary like MASH. Then we develop keywords, then we use Boolean operators, and we construct our search strings. So a little example that we have already seen, but I will again quickly take you through that. So the research question that you're already familiar with. In patients undergoing cardiac surgery, this remote ischemic preconditioning compared to no preconditioning reduces the incidence of myocardial infarction within the postoperative period. So this is our research question. Now we will break down this research question into the PICO format. The PICO is patient intervention comparison and outcome. So what is the particular patient or population in question here? These are the patients undergoing cardiac surgery. What is the intervention that we are going for? Remote ischemic preconditioning. What is the comparison that we are going to use? That is the control group or no preconditioning. And what is the outcome that we want to measure based on the intervention? That is the incidence of myocardial infarction within the postoperative period. So, see, when you break down your research question using PICO, it becomes simpler and much more understandable in that sense. Then identify the databases that are relevant to your topic. So we have tons of data. Most famous one is PubMed. Then there is Scopus, there is Web of Science, there is Cochrane. I've already talked to you about all three in the previous lecture. Then there is another one called MBase. Then you have to consider controlled vocabulary. Now explore whether the databases you're using offer controlled vocabulary or subject headings. That is the mesh terms, example like the mesh terms in PubMed. Use these terms to refine your search. Now I would take this opportunity to show you a little bit about how to use mesh terminologies. So here we see this what is mesh. This is medical subject headings. It is in NLM controlled vocabulary thesaurus used for indexing articles for PubMed. So what is this LLM? This is National Library of Medicine. So this is a very cool tool that is brought to you by the US National Library of Medicine. And this mesh is difficult to like it gets a little bit difficult to understand. So they also provide tutorials for you to use how to use it. For example, let's consider I want to see what is the mesh terminology for heart attack. So I'm going to put heart attack here and I'm going to search for it. So The first term, that the mesh term for heart attack, it shows is myocardial infarction, and then it is followed by its scope note, which is like a a short definition kind of thing, which tells me that myocardial infarction is the necrosis of the myocardium caused by an obstruction of the blood supply to the heart, which is coronary circulation. And we know that then it shows the year introduced, which is 1979. So we would know that the earliest paper on myocardial infarction you would find after 1979, right? So that is the use of this. Then there is an options for subheading. So now there, of course, heart attack is something of interest to me. The mesh terminology is myocardial infarction. Now, what particularly about myocardial infarction is what I want. Like maybe I can be interested in its pathology, physiopathology. I want to know about its therapy or surgery. I want to know about its diagnosis. I want to know about its classification, right? So we can use these subheadings to find papers related to the myocardial infarction, which includes their classification, diagnosis, and stuff like that, right? So here is the tree. So this is a particular tree. You can see that this is the from top to down, it goes from broader topic to the narrower topics. So you can see that myocardial infarction is here. Above it is, in the broader context, is myocardial ischemia. Then myocardial ischemia comes under heart diseases, which come under cardiovascular diseases, which come under disease categories, which can come under all mesh categories. And when you go below the heading of myocardial infarction, you see anterior wall myocardial infarction, inferior wall, non-ST elevated, ST elevated, shock, cardionegative. So this is narrowing the term, right? The classification is narrower. So you can, let's see what happens when you go to myocardial ischemia. So then you see another concept note of scope note of myocardial ischemia. And when you see the search tree, you see that this myocardial ischemia includes so many things. It includes acute or coronary syndrome, it includes angina pectoris, it includes coronary disease, myocardial infarction, which was the one we saw when we were searching for myocardial infarction, Kunis syndrome, myocardial reperfusion injury. So this gets a little bit, experience to get used to. I would suggest that you go through this website uh, and you play around with it. Then you would be able to understand the functionalities of all the available functions. And you can see that here is a list of entry terms that can be used for you to search the database. And they also have this cute little functionality of PubMed search builders and the Boolean operators, so that I hope you have already been cleared from the previous lecture. If not, I encourage you to go through that lecture first and then see this one, so that there is no gap in your understanding. Then there is another cool resource that I want to show you, that from the original page, you can see that there are tutorials. So when you click on tutorials, you find the school resources that they have uh, collected, they have uploaded for you to understand how to use PubMed and the medical subject headings. So you can find it here. There is PubMed online training. There is also exploring mesh for expert searching. This is the particular one which which helps you. There is an LLM navigator where where it shows you the functionalities of different filters, and also helps you understand the particular what are scope notes, what is year of introduction, and everything like that. So you can find everything how to navigate this module and the training course on this uh, website itself. I hope you give it a go. And if there is anything that you would like us to help you understand, so you could comment, send us a comment or an email, and we might help you. We might try to help you regarding that. So when you go with the LNM Navigator, it gives a pop-up window, uh, and it asks certain questions. So I think that pop-up is blocked, particular right now in my browser. So you would have to open the like allow pop-ups, and then it would work. But that's all. I think we should get back to the uh, controlled vocabulary. So I think that is explanatory enough explanation. Then we have to develop keywords. So once you have taken synonyms and the mesh terminologies, you can create this 4 by 4 table where you can add the synonyms and mesh related mesh terminologies under each column of outcome, control, intervention, and patient, like in the PICO format only, but you can add the synonyms. So see, in here we have added, in the outcome we have added myocardial infarction, MI, heart attack, myocardial ischemia, anything else that you would like to add. Uh, and there is one another important thing that you have to also include alternate spellings. That is because there is a UK and US version of English. So, like, emphasize can be spelled with both Z and S, and that can, uh, uh, change the search results. So, we encourage you to keep that in mind as well. Then, intervention also the same thing. They have added the synonyms as well as their short forms. Similarly, for the patient or population, so cardiac surgery, heart surgery, cardiovascular surgery, cardiac surgical, open heart surgery, and whatever you can find. Then, of course, you have to use Boolean operators to build the search terms. I hope you're familiar with and or not, as explained in the previous lecture. Then, how do you use the Boolean operators? So, in the case of synonyms, like whatever terminologies you are using for the outcome, you have to separate by or, the Boolean operator or, and you have to bind all the different search strings for outcome, control, intervention, and patient with and, so that it shows here they have to be connected with and, right? And then finally you would get something like this, uh, that which is your search string. So see, here is the synonyms for all the outcome. This is the synonyms and the search string of all the intervention, and this is the search string for the patient population. So that, and they have to be strung together with the end, right? Then you can just copy paste it and put it on your PubMed database, Scopus, Web of Science, Cochrane, wherever you like, right? Just click on search. Then whatever results you get, you can save them in the CSV format, which will result in the studies in an Excel sheet that is easy to navigate. So I think that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Hope it was useful to you.